Hello, everyone. For those of you whom I have not met, my name is Pradeep. I'm part of the product development team at Gelato, as Henry called the new title, which is Builder. So we do everything from taking feedback from customers to build the product. I've been with Gelato for 8 years. My background is in software. I'm an engineer by education, been part of building Gelato's creator economy business, and in the last 2 years, fully focused on Gelato Connect. I don't come from the print industry, but it's been exciting and fun to work with leading printers to build up the software. So very excited to present today this session about AI Estimator. I will start here. This is I cannot think of a better bridge to go from Henrik's presentation to here to summarize the problem and the challenges and the opportunity. It is it is about the software. Your machines have evolved. 8 years ago, when I joined Gelato and when I visited PSPs, I could see the speed at which those machines operated. People were still thinking, should I even move into digital printing? But now those questions have been answered. But when we look at the software stack today at PSPs, it's exactly almost the same as what it was 8 years before. So they're backward looking. They're really built for offset and bulk production, and they're not smart. It's not a learning engine. It is very hard to go into this after the presentation from Henrik with robots dancing in China, because we know where this is, right. So they manage complexity. I would almost say they manage the decline, right? Like if you have a decline, how do you optimize that? But they do not optimize for growth and profit. So that is really the gap. And that is the reason why we have invested and focused on the front end, which is the AI estimator. Why is the AI estimator the starting point? So 6 months ago, we were in Madrid. We had a summit just like this. Some of you were there. And a lot of the feedback revolved around why we need to start here. Really, absolutely nail this before we move on to, expanding it into the rest of the MIS, right? Like, why is this so important? Every print business started, it starts with this fundamental question: what should I charge? And the answer I have learned, at least over the last year, is it's not simple, right? Like there is important complexity that you need to relate to, but it shouldn't be hard for the print buyer. To summarize your estimation process, I would say, sales and estimation bucketed into one is your biggest hidden cost. It's also your biggest untapped growth lever. We're going to come to this in the presentation, how we are, how PSPs are using this as the biggest growth lever. And the one thing that you have probably never measured, also going back to Ben, the data, once it's in the system, this is a theme, there is a lot of power to it. It compounds in terms of value that you can use to optimize and run your business better. When we look at the full end-to-end cycle of your jobs, all the way from winning a job through the sales process, up until you fulfill that order and you do your admin, which is invoicing, all of those downstream challenges, the problem is not that your presses can take more jobs, right? Like, it, does anyone have 100% utilization of the press, and that is the main problem? Like, show of hands. I don't see that. It's actually, well, we see it in the data. Just so you know, in the AI estimator, we have the machines configured, and we can see how much they can do because we have the speeds, all of the data in there, and the amount of jobs that is running through is not even 20-30% in in some of the machines. So this is really the problem. Of course, those are things that can make things so much more efficient, but this is something that we just double clicked on in the last 6 months. Like when we look at the summit in Madrid up until now, this is what you have told us: help us grow, and that is why the theme really is about growth. And I put in here, it's not the presses, right? It's about feeding the presses, which is the challenge. So I'm going to look at, go in and share three specific areas within. What does it mean when we say sales and estimation side of the life cycle is the key challenge? The first one is the growth ceiling. So if the number of inbound requests just explode, are you able to handle that today? I think Hendrik shared a statistic, which is that AI estimator can do 4,000 in a day, right? Like, so that is just numbers. And Ben's example here, you don't, decoupling that with having to change your headcount, I think that is one. So your growth is actually capped by how much you can do. think about the last tender, which was just too much work, and you said, I'm not going to bid on this one, right? Like, so that's your capped volume. The next one, salespeople can code. This is a real team. In your businesses, you have your salespeople asking your estimators to code, and you're just basically removing them a bit from the process. These people know your customers best. What if you equip them to actually do real sales and business, right? And because salespeople are doing customer support or estimation, they're not having the real growth conversations. And that is, the growth ceiling here. The second aspect here, this goes to, Henrik's comment about signing off that, $5 million press, but having this different mindset towards software. Today, when you have, more demand, you go out and get an estimator. And you heard from Andy from BSG earlier, it is also not easy to find new estimators. I do not think my 7-year-old daughter is going to grow up and be a print estimator, right? Like, we know that is just going away. So this change needs to happen. There is no debating that. And there is also a cost associated with that. How do we think about this cost when we think about software? So this is just the cost of 3 estimators. And while you are, when there is a growth spurt, this is the way the industry has been solving for that growth, which is headcount. And the last one, this came up as a recurring theme. Again, I speak to thousands of printers just on print estimation, so this comes up over and over again. And one of the reasons some of our customers accelerate the deployment of AI estimator is because they say, this person we have, that person is retiring. I don't know what I'm going to do now, but we just don't have a choice, but we just need to lean in, right? So this is a lot of tribal knowledge. I think it's great. It's brought the business this far, but this has to move into AI and data driven. I don't think people born after the 90s are just going to sit with like tribal knowledge, being experts at print estimation right now. So this shift has to change as well. I wanted to ask perhaps you, Shreya, what was the discussion like? Like, what are you seeing in your business? How do you relate to this?
So I think what we've seen is that Atlas is a 30-year-old company that was obviously founded on offset. During time of COVID, we shifted to a completely digital production house. And we also launched our e-commerce website, Souq, which is what I had founded. And I think just a very real example of the AI estimator versus a legacy system is that the same client for, the same product contacted Atlas and Souq, not knowing they were the same company. One of them that contacted Souq was Gen Z millennial. We quoted on the AI estimator 60% higher than Atlas quoted, and Atlas had multiple touch points of conversations, kind of negotiating a few dirhams. But it goes back to what Henrik said. We won both jobs just from 2 different teams for the same product in the same company, but Souq quoted 60% higher just because of how quickly we were able to get back to them because of AI estimator. Whereas Atlas team hadn't used it and was still working relationship based and also got the job, but with a much smaller margin and 3 days later. So I think just in that aspect of how much it streamlines it and, caters to the Gen Z millennial decision makers, which are maybe your more profitable decision makers and the growth, within the next few years, they're the people who you're going to be dealing with predominantly.
No, good. No, thank you for sharing that. I think this is an important nuance, right? It's not like fast, bad quotes. Like Andy from BSG, whom you heard before, there's 25 salespeople using this tool to get accurate quotes. And his quote was, I'm imparting 35 years of my experience into this tool so my team can benefit. And Shreya, your example, links directly to that, right? It's not just about, Hendrik's data point. Again, 71% of buyers would lean towards those who respond fast and give a solution. So you can also use that to your advantage. How much can you charge when it's convenient to do business with you versus it's inconvenient? So again, I mean, we're going to go into, some more depth into the product, but I wanted to also share the energy that goes into building something like this. If I share here, this is what is the AI estimator? So this is a vertically trained AI for the print industry. Right? So that is an important aspect to recognize. So there's a lot of things happening in the background, and we have some of the best engineers, not coding, but orchestrating these agent swarms to bring this power to you. I will also show a demo later, and we'll have some customer presentations. But this is the if you had to go back, hire engineers and build it yourself, it's the same example. It's like, I want to go and build my own Canon IX right now and compete with Canon. Like, it is really like that. But this is the power that we bring to your facility to really drive that growth.